Welcome to the Junior Giraffe Club, everyone. I'm Leslie Zimick, and my co-host today is Anne's daughter, and she's also the CEO of the Anne and the Stag Foundation, Mary Dagg. Hello, Mary.
Hi, everybody.
One of our previous guest speakers, Anton Beatich, has been posting fun giraffe videos from his research in South Africa. So we thought we'd show you a video that might give you a bit of a smile today.
How long is it supposed to be?
So, like I mentioned, Anton has spoken with our group before,
Mhm.
and he's doing some great research on the sounds that giraffes make. So, if you'd like to see more of his fun videos and also educational, you can check out his Instagram or Facebook. Mary, I'll hand things over to you now so you can introduce our guest speaker.
Hi. Okay, so our very special guest this month is Ethan Fulkerson. And Ethan is a hoofstock and pinniped keeper. I had to look that one up. That means you do seals, so the water seals. Keeper at Riverbank Zoo and Garden in South Carolina in the US. He's caring for a variety of species, including the zoo's resident giraffe herd. Before moving down to South Carolina, he graduated with a degree in zoo and conservation science from Otterbein University and completed several internships across the United States and even outside of the country. Hi, Ethan.
Hello, how is everyone doing today? Should I just go ahead and get started?
Sure.
Yes,
All
that'd be
right.
wonderful.
Well, thank you for that introduction. Let me go ahead and share my screen. There we go. Like that beautiful introduction said, my name is Ethan Fulkerson. I am a hoofstock keeper here at Riverbank Zoo and Garden. I've been working with giraffe for several years now, and my team and I have been able to work on so many amazing things with our giraffe herd over the years. And one of our biggest projects that we've been hitting really hard is collecting plasma. Before I go any further into this presentation, I just wanted to let everyone know, make sure everyone is aware that because we're talking about blood and plasma, we're just going to be talking about, there will be discussions about blood and needles. I'm not going to go too far into anything, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone is aware in case they're a little bit uncomfortable. But let's start learning about plasma. What is plasma? That's a fun word. Plasma is a component of blood. So when you draw blood, it splits up into different things. There's the actual blood cells. That's the red stuff that comes out. That makes up just about half of what comes out when you bleed. The liquid stuff is the plasma. Plasma, why it's important, why our body has it, is because it contains a lot of antibodies and hormones. Big words, important things for your body. Plasma transports nutrients and electrolytes around the body as blood moves around, and it also removes toxins as it moves around the body. So overall, very important. So what do we use plasma for when we talk about giraffe? Out in their native habitats, giraffe calves have a very difficult time surviving. And while they have a better chance of survival under human care, with the assistance from animal care teams, it's still very difficult. Out in their native ranges, only about 50% of calves survive to adulthood. Under human care, that number is a lot bigger, just because we're able to step in and assist. And that comes down to their first day nursing from their mom. The first day, as they are nursing from their mom produces something called colostrum instead of just their normal milk. Colostrum has all of those antibodies and proteins in it to help boost a baby giraffe calf's health. And if you look closely at the presentation here, you might notice that the word antibodies pops up twice. Antibodies show up in colostrum, that important stuff that they drink from their mother the first day. And it also pops up in the plasma. So, if under human care, if a giraffe calf doesn't get that important colostrum from their mother, and they get a little sick, we're able to step in and provide those same antibodies through a plasma transfusion. I'm throwing a lot of big words at you, and I apologize. But how do we get the plasma? Because, of course, the plasma is inside their body. We need to collect it. And it's going to be a little harder than you might think. So we need to train the behavior. If you think about us as humans, we go to the doctor. We can tell the doctor how we're feeling. We can tell the doctor what things hurt, stuff like that. We can communicate with our doctors. I don't speak giraffe, and the giraffes don't speak English with me. So we need to do things a little bit differently with them. We need to teach them that all the things that we're doing with them are completely normal, make sure they're comfortable with everything, and we need to explain every tiny little step to them as we're collecting their blood and plasma. So we do this through training. We use positive reinforcement, which is just a fancy way of saying you get a treat for doing the right thing. The same way that you might train your dogs or cats at home. You ask your dog to sit down, you say good, and you give them a little treat. We do that same thing just with a really, really big dog called a giraffe. And we are associating those scary, difficult things like vets, needles, or something that's very hard for anyone, sitting down and focusing for a long time, because it takes a long time to collect that blood, with reinforcing things like tasty snacks. So that's how we train the behavior. There's a couple different tools that we use to train for the job. The first thing that you might need to train to collect giraffe plasma is a giraffe. You can't get giraffe plasma without a giraffe. And then we also have a trainer. That trainer is going to use their different tools to train. If you look over here, this is Mariah. She has her target pole. This is Brucey right here. Bruce is our master plasma giraffe. He is so good. He's trained really well. He and Mariah have been working together for 7 years, so they have 7 years of building this relationship. So they are Bruce trusts Mariah very, very well, and Mariah trusts Bruce right back. So he is trained to touch his nose to the tip of that buoy, and he stays right there very well. Mariah tells him that he's doing really well by using a bridge. She has a clicker, and once he hears that click, he knows that he's doing the right thing. And then she has reinforcement. She has this little white bucket on her hip right here, and that white bucket is filled with lettuce and carrots and sweet potatoes, all of his favorite tasty things that we're constantly refilling and giving to him. Along with the trainer, we have our vet staff. Those are the people standing down below Bruce. We have our vet tech who's actually doing the poking and drawing the blood, and then we have our vet just as our assistants in the back. And they have their blood collection tools. So they have a needle and a syringe to pull the blood, and then we're collecting it in a bag because we need a large amount. So those are the different tools that we use. to train this. Now, how do we actually collect it? I have this little video of here of us actually collecting it. We use our feeding platform. This is the platform that everyone comes up to when they come visit us at the zoo, which is super cool because sometimes if you come to the zoo, you might see us training this awesome behavior. And it allows us to get really up high in the air, up where we're able to be one-on-one with Bruce. You'll be able to see him touching his nose to that target over there, Mariah feeding that lettuce, and then our vets over here pulling that blood and rocking it in the bag. Some other things that we take into account when we are doing this is that giraffes are most comfortable when they are with their herd. They are a species that thrives when they're with other giraffe. And so while we're doing this, all the other giraffe are out there with Bruce. We also have different team members present throughout all of this. We have Mariah as our stationer, and we have someone helping her out, filling her buckets as she runs out of lettuce. We have our vet tech and vet assistant focusing on the blood. I call myself the babysitter. I'm out there making sure the other giraffes, as they come up, have something to do. So I'm feeding and keeping them busy. And then we also have an education team. Like I said, we do this right out in the public. All our guests are able to stop by and check this out. So we have a member of our education team standing by, chatting with them, telling them what's up. So that's super, super cool that we're able to do all of this. After we collect the plasma, you might have seen that little bag that she was rocking back and forth. We take that plasma. First we take a selfie with it because, of course, this is a super cool thing that we're doing. So we like to document it. We like to take a picture of it as our little team. And then after that, we need to separate the plasma from the blood cells. And we can do that through two different things. We can use a machine called a centrifuge. A centrifuge essentially spins it around really, really fast, and the really heavy blood cells fall to the bottom, leaving the plasma on top. We don't have that. We go for a different thing, which I have a little video of. It's kind of hard to see since it's so small. But if I kind of move forward, the plasma and the blood cells naturally separate overnight. So the heavy blood cells, like I said, will fall to the bottom of the bag over here. And that clear kind of yellowy liquid on top is the plasma. And we have this little machine to kind of squeeze the bag, kind of like you're squeezing a juice pouch. And it goes up through the straw up here, down the tube, and we're able to collect it into this other bag over here. Unfortunately, the video is kind of hard to see because it's a clear liquid and it's hard to, it's kind of harder to see. But that is super cool. That's super easy to pull that plasma from the rest of the blood cells. And then after that, we're able to pop it in our freezer. We have a freezer that keeps all of our blood collections and plasma collections nice and frozen. They stay frozen until we need to thaw it out and use it. But we label it with the name. That's Bruce's plasma, what he is. He is a giraffe. All of our animals have an ID number. We put that on there, and then we put what it is, and it's blood plasma. And then it stays in the freezer until we need it, until another zoo needs it. And so who might need it? Where does the plasma go? Like I said, we keep the plasma for ourselves if we ever came into an emergency, or something that's really important is if another zoo, all of the zoos around us are really close with each other. If another zoo is having an emergency and they ask us for help, we're going to step in and help. So I have a little video over here. This is Dobby. Dobby is a giraffe that lives at the Denver Zoo in Denver, Colorado. And when he was born, he, just like I mentioned, he had a difficult time nursing right off the bat from his mother. And so he got sick really quickly. And so they reached out to Cheyenne Mountain Zoo also in Colorado. Cheyenne Mountain Zoo is known for their giraffe herd, and they do a lot of giraffe plasma draws. They are kind of the ones heading the giraffe plasma movement. They want all of us participating in it. So they, of course, sent plasma to save Dobby. And he is up walking around. This was back in, when was this? This was back in 2017. He is a full adult giraffe now. He is doing so well. So that is the kind of success story that we like to see our plasma going to. And he's not the only one. We have giraffes across the country that we're able to send plasma to. So like I said, we have our own blood bank here at Riverbanks. There are kind of a couple other hubs across North America that have blood banks, and other facilities that might not have the space to keep blood, they send their plasma to. So those blood banks are super important. So currently, Riverbanks has enough plasma saved up to save 1.5 giraffe calves, not quite enough to save 2 giraffe calves. But in addition to our giraffe plasma, I was kind of telling you guys a little bit earlier before we hopped onto the meeting, we also collect rhino plasma. And we have enough rhino plasma to save a rhino calf as well. Recently, Zoo Atlanta, just down the street from us, reached out to us and asked if we were able to provide that rhino plasma to them if they ever needed it. And thankfully they didn't need it because their rhino calf did perfectly in its first couple days. But we were here on standby if they needed that. And then where in the future are we going with this plasma? We're just going to keep going. We're going to keep collecting the plasma, keep banking it, and keep it for ourselves if we run into an emergency, and keep it for other facilities in an emergency as well. The more we work this behavior with Bruce, the more comfortable he's going to get with it. Hopefully in the future, we're going to be able to introduce our the other members of our giraffe herd into this as well. But like I said, Bruce and Mariah were working on this for 7 years. So this is a long road. We have a long road ahead of us, but we are not going to stop. We're going to keep collecting plasma and keep saving these giraffe calves moving forward. It's super cool. And I'm so happy that I was able to chat a little bit about this today. So thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much, Ethan. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
I have so many questions, but
Sure.
I do too.
yeah. Do we have any questions from our members? And maybe
It was a lot. I threw a lot out, so I apologize.
No, it's great.
I have a couple questions. Did you want to?
That'd be great.
Somebody says, do giraffe have different blood types?
That's a great question. So a lot of money and a lot of science focuses on humans, as it should, because we need to help ourselves. There's not a lot of science going into giraffe, let alone giraffe blood types. So right off the bat, I don't know if we know if there's different giraffe blood types, but I can say that I do know of a research project going on. Okay, I was just on my way over. I'm so sorry, my radio is yelling at me. A research project investigating if there's the blood types in rhinos. So I would assume that there's giraffe blood types. There is just not the research out there to investigate that currently.
That's a great question. Thanks, Brandy.
How long does the plasma last when it's being frozen?
Yeah, so the plasma lasts a while, thankfully, because it takes a long time to collect. I don't know the exact expiration date, but since it's frozen, it can last a very long time. And facilities like Cheyenne Mountain, Columbus Zoo, San Diego Zoo that have been collecting these things for a long time have built up really, really big banks, and that's because it lasts so long since it takes them. For reference, I didn't say it in my presentation, but we're up there drawing that plasma for over 20 minutes.
Okay.
It takes a long time to get that. And it's not like we're able to go out there every single day to do that. So collecting enough plasma for a giraffe calf is going to take a long time. So I don't know the exact expiration date off the top of my head, but it does last a long time that you're able to bank up.
And when you were going through the breakdown of blood, the different components, is that breakdown the same for all creatures that have blood?
Yeah, so just think about when you cut yourself, blood comes out and it's a liquid. The actual red of it, those blood cells, is the solid part. That comes out as liquid. That liquid is the plasma. And since the blood cells are solid, they sink down after you let it sit, and the plasma rises to the top. So it's like if you had like a fruit punch or like a cup of water with ice cubes in it. The water is going to be the plasma, and the ice cubes in it are going to be the blood cells.
Okay.
And yeah, the distribution, it's usually half liquid and half of those solids.
Okay, whatever creature you are, same.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, thank you.
Shannon's got her hand raised.
Yeah, what a great, that was so interesting because in fact for a knee injury, I had some of my own plasma taken, like spun down and injected back into me. So it reminded me of all the good things, why they did that for me.
Oh, cool.
But I know, it's like, wow, that's very relevant. But more importantly, for the giraffes, now that's so interesting about, are there different blood types? Because, you know, with humans, we have to check that first before we inject it or infuse it to somebody else. But I was wondering, do you have to check for any diseases or anything first before you share that plasma?
Yeah, so not necessarily the disease side of it, but if, say, that giraffe was under anesthesia when the blood was taken, that's going to be important because all of those medications are going to be in the blood system, and you don't want to give those to another giraffe that isn't under those medications. So you could pull blood from a giraffe who is under anesthesia and give it to another giraffe who's under that same anesthesia. But so that's what you're need to be aware of. And we pull that plasma and we make sure to label it. This is the medication that this giraffe was on when it was pulled. And like that sticker that you saw on that frozen one, that's where we're going to list it.
That is so interesting. And just a quick follow-up question, because it almost seems like a miracle when the little calf was like not doing well and then all of a sudden it was doing well. Do you have any idea what your success rate is?
Yeah, so like you said, it seems like a miracle. And that's kind of true. You need to do multiple transfusions, of course. Like I said, our bank only has enough for one transfusion, 1.5 transfusions. So you do need to do a couple, but because that the antibodies that are found in the colostrum is kind of the same as the antibodies in the plasma, you're kind of just giving them that extra boost back to where they were supposed to be originally. It's not going to be a miracle in the sense that that calf is now going to have superpowers to get it to survive 100%, but it's just going to give them that extra leg up to be where they're supposed to be naturally.
Interesting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Why are giraffes so tall?
Why are giraffes so tall? That's a great question. Everyone's been asking that question for many, many years. And people probably think the biggest theory is because of the food that they eat. So they're going to be eating big, tall trees, big leaves and twigs off of trees. And of course, that's going to be super, super high in the air. And they're going to need to be super tall for that. And then, of course, other animals around them are going to be looking towards them to keep an eye out. They're the watchtowers of the savannah. So if they see a lion coming up, a leopard coming up, all the other animals that are a lot shorter are going to be relying on them. So they're tall for a couple different reasons, because of the food that they eat and also to keep an eye out for predators.
Okay.
That was a really good question, though.
And there's a chat. Bryn says, because of all the short-necked giraffes died of, oh, and I can't see the rest of it. But I guess the long-necked giraffes survived.
Yeah, that's how the evolution works, because, of course, all the leaves are up top, and the shorter ones aren't able to reach up and get those. So unfortunately, the long-necked giraffes are going to survive to continue repopulating and getting taller and taller.
Do we have any other questions? One thing I wondered, Ethan, was when you mentioned it takes about, and sorry if I've missed this, but you said it takes about 20 minutes to do that draw.
Mm.
How many of those would you have to do so that you did have enough for, say, one baby giraffe?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So that was kind of the issue with why so many facilities weren't doing plasma right off the bat, because the bags that everyone was using were really big, and that would take like 30-40 minutes to fill those bags, and those bags are super, super expensive. We just randomly found these smaller bags. I don't know the exact size, but they're about this big. A quart, maybe. A lot smaller. So if Bruce maybe isn't feeling his best that day and we're only able to stand still for 10 minutes, we're able to fill that bag halfway. We're not wasting that really, really big bag, all of that money on those super expensive bags. And that's us finding these smaller bags are going to really like turn the tide across all of our facilities, because they're a lot less expensive and a lot smaller to fill. And of course, even though they're a lot smaller to fill, we need to do a lot more of these collections because we're not filling these big bags. And I would say maybe, so in the video of Dobby's, the Dobby receiving the transfusion, the bags are a lot bigger. Those are the bigger plasma bags. Maybe like a liter of those plasma, and it looks like he has 2 of them. So however the math works out on that, between like 6 and 8 of our plasma draws probably go into one transfusion.
Okay.
So a lot. We're doing a lot of draws to really only boil down to one single transfusion. So the more and more we're able to work this behavior, the more and more we're going to be able to bank in our freezer, and other places are going to be able to bank in their freezers.
So Mary had asked, how does Bruce feel after the draw of blood?
That's a good question. He feels fine. We're in the end, we're not pulling all that much blood from him. He's huge. He's 16 feet tall. It's just like us taking a little bit of blood from us. If you take a lot, you maybe start to feel a little woozy, feel a little faint. He's so big, we're not taking all that much. He'll go on, say hi to the other giraffes, eat a snack, eat some hay, eat some leaves. He feels good, and he walks it off, and it's like nothing ever happened to him. That's a really good question, though.
How long have you been working with giraffes?
That's a good question. So I've been here at Riverbanks going on 3 years now. So I've been with this herd for 3 years, but I've been working with giraffes at a couple other facilities before.
And Shannon asks, what age does a giraffe have to be to start training them for blood draws? And
That's a
who would
really
you
good
train
question.
next? Sorry, that's the second part.
So our last calf, her name was Amelia. When she was born, and we tried really right off the bat getting her comfortable with people. This isn't a blood draw, but another big thing that we do with our giraffes is hoof care, making sure that their feet are good. That's super, super important for these guys. So we do a lot of hoof care training with them. With Amelia, before we sent her off to her new home at North Carolina Zoo, from the second she was comfortable with us, touching her, getting comfortable, we wanted to make sure that she was good with us, touching her legs, getting comfortable, and that's all training. When a giraffe doesn't have that from a really young age, it's going to take a lot longer. But going back to your question, when do we start training with our giraffes? As early as they want to. Blood draws is going to be a lot bigger because it's a lot more of an invasive thing. You're asking them to, one, touch their neck and then poke their neck with a needle. So you're asking a lot bigger and harder things, so it's going to take a lot longer to train that. But if you start right off the bat with a giraffe calf, you're able to start teaching them things really, really early on.
Thank you.
And then Bryn had asked, how old is Bruce?
Yeah, Bruce was born in 2012. So doing the quick math on that, he is 12 years old. Does that sound right? 12 years old? So that is relatively young. Our oldest giraffe, her name was Sharon. She was 24 years old. So Bruce is kind of right in the middle of that. He's still a young guy. And then our other couple hooligans around here, they're a little bit younger than him. And then Glenda, our lady, she's a little bit older than him. So we have a nice array of ages across our giraffe group.
Nice. Thank you so much, Ethan.
Could I ask just one last question? Because I'm thinking if it's so difficult to train them, which it is, it's so intense and takes 7 years, who's going to be trained next in case something happens to Bruce?
So yeah, that's a really good question. These are all ongoing processes right now. I work really closely with Glenda, one of our other giraffes, and I train her multiple times a week. Each of the giraffes have their own personality. Her personality just happens to be the spicier personality. She doesn't love a ton of people, and she is quick to let those people know that she is not a fan of them. So I work really, really hard with my relationship with her, keeping it positive. And if I do something difficult with her, I make sure to build that relationship back up. And so we're not at all close to the point of collecting plasma from her yet. We'd like to do a couple other things, but I'm working really, really hard with her on those other things. Currently, we're not doing any other plasma with the others, but that's not for a lack of anything else. We could definitely start that process of training that behavior. The other two giraffe that are around are in those training programs as well, working on being comfortable in our training chute or presenting their hooves for hoof care. So we're doing a ton of other things with them as well.
Thank you. That's remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
So thanks again for your time today, Ethan.
Well, thank you so much.
We haven't talked about this before, so we've learned a lot.
I tried my best. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I love that.
Yes.
So interesting.
Wonderful.
I've been to a zoo where I got to learn all about giraffes.
Ah, very cool.
Which zoo was that?
The Toronto Zoo.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we love the Toronto Zoo.
That's great. So we hope that everyone is enjoying Professor Fred, which is now on the Anne Inistag Foundation's YouTube page. And so his latest video is going to be Do Giraffes Get Sick? And it's going to be on YouTube, but not until Monday. So today we're going to get a little bit of a sneak peek of that before it goes live. So I'm just going to bear with me while I grab that. Sorry. This is the one that I hadn't, I forgot to work out here. So, and I have to go into a special account, not on YouTube to get it.
But why do you need to go on a special account not on YouTube, but the video's on YouTube?
Well, it's not on YouTube yet. We're not going to post it on there until Monday. So we figure what we like to do for our members is give you guys an opportunity to see things before they actually end up going live, which is
A
kind
little
of fun,
sneak
eh?
peek.
Yeah.
The club.
Okay, I think I've got it here now. So Mary, just let me know if for some reason you can't hear it, and then I'll stop it and try it again.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go.
Hello, giraffe lovers. This is Professor Fred of the Anne Inistag Foundation here in South Africa, and I want to answer the question that's been asked. Do giraffe ever get sick? And the answer is they do, but it's rare. They sometimes come down with bacterial infections. They sometimes have parasitic infections. And we actually saw one that had cancer. There was a huge growth on its side, and the veterinarians came out to look at the giraffe to see if they could possibly do anything to help it out. But what happened was there was absolutely nothing that the vets could do. And so the decision was made to let nature take its course. And that's the economy of nature. It's the life cycle. And if you'd like to learn more about giraffe, then click the like button, subscribe to our channel, and make sure to share with your friends everything you've learned about giraffe. Stay tuned for the next episode. See you then.
So the interesting thing about that is that shows you, you know, just as Ethan was talking about too, in the wild, you know, we don't have an Ethan, you know, so giraffes can get sick and then they don't have the care, but that's just what happens in nature. But in the case of giraffes that are in zoos, then they can do things like give transfusions to help the giraffes to survive. But it's really neat that Professor Fred and Mary had the opportunity to be there in South Africa and to hear about that giraffe, to learn about it, and then to actually see things like the bones and how big they are, which was a really neat experience because you can hear, oh, a giraffe can be 16 feet tall, but to actually see how big that bone would be is really pretty fascinating. So just a reminder too to everybody that our Observations in Nature contest closes today. Also, if you want to share your giraffe crafts, photos, or projects, please email us. We'd love to hear from you. And we're going to show you one before we go here that Rebecca had done quite a while ago. I thought this was really neat because she took something she already had and she was able to repurpose it when it didn't seem to have a use anymore. So this is our Junior Giraffe Club member, Rebecca, and look at her giraffe made out of pens that she had that were dried out and she couldn't use anymore.
Love it.
How cool
So
that is.
cool. Love it.
So creative.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
So it's
And I love
amazing
the
when you
t-shirt
look.
too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Now I
amazing when
see
you
that.
look around your house what you can find to repurpose and make into a piece of art.
Hmm. Leslie, Bryn asked, is for Professor's Fred video, asked,
Yes.
is this on kids' YouTube?
Oh, that's a good question. No, it's just on the regular YouTube, but now that you've mentioned that's something that we should look into. So thank you for that question. Okay, so our next meeting is not going to be until January, but I'm hoping you will write this down and remember to come to our next meeting on Saturday, January 18th. Our guest speaker is going to be Christina Stump, and she's from the Niabi Zoo, where giraffe enrichment includes music and spices. Very interesting, so you won't want to miss it. Thank you again to our speaker, our facilitators, our volunteers, and our members. One last thing before we go, we're going to do our official Junior Giraffe Club sign-off. So what I want you to do is unmute, and then we're going to all say one of Anne Innestag's favorite sayings, and it is "Long live giraffe." So make sure you unmute, and then I'll count us down. So we're going to go 3, 2, 1. Yes. Good job, everybody. So thank you very much for attending. Don't forget that we will be putting the recording on YouTube in case you want to watch it from there as well. Takes us a little time to get it up there, but we will get it up there for our members today and also for our members that are in different time zones, and we will be watching it at a different time. So hope to see you all in January, everybody. Bye for now.
Thanks, everybody. Long live giraffe.
Bye.
Bye.